Okay. So, yeah, so I guess what I'm curious about. Tell me what you were running into, or what that question was.
Okay. So before we have separate um folder or arrays of edge archetype, right?
Hmm.
Wait, let me share my screen so I can explain it better. Can you see my screen now?
Yep. Yep. I can see it.
So previously we have this. I think. Wait. Oh, I'm sorry. So previously we have this kind of um structure. So we have
Mm-hmm.
list of dictionary, then edge, deer,
Mm-hmm.
then edge archetype. That's the previous. Um, Now we have new edge. We now have something like this. So in DB
Mm-hmm.
perspective, I can save this kind of structure. So I have this uh something like this.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is currently ignored
Mm.
without anything. We can
Mm-hmm.
use it in the future. But these three is the number of edge deer, the equivalent of edge deer.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's sub
Sure.
1 or sub 2 or
Sure.
sub 3,
Mm-hmm.
then this is the current structure, or I mean the preferred one structure,
Mm.
because in this approach I can filter out every target edge deer
Mm.
without without reading everything on the DB. So currently, for example, this one, uh, if if I load the
Mm-hmm.
node with, for example, node one with this edge, the structure of this in initial load will be something like this. Um, List of doc anchor. So to be able to know that this edge archetype is from or to or out in, I need to query it to DB. So to be able to query it on the DB, we don't do it one by one so that it doesn't flood the DB. So I con consolidate every doc anchor needed, then I query it once to
So, so
do
what's the
something like this.
so what's the latest what's the latest structure for that? Let me see real quick.
The latest structure is just array of doc anchors.
No,
So I
let's see.
follow the latest main,
Oh, I see. So
something
it's a list of edge archetypes, and this is primarily for edge archetype. Okay, I see. Well, I see. I see. I see. I see.
So
That's
to
true.
be able to
That's true.
filter out the in
Mm-hmm.
out edge,
Mm-hmm.
I need to query everything.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I.
So it be
Yep. Makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, of course, it's totally changeable in your plugin, but you're absolutely right. We should actually do this in the baseline construct. So let me see. So basically, there's this get edges. So I could share my screen and we could just we could talk through the implementation, I guess. Um,
oh sure.
so let me see. I'll share screen. Let me just share the VS Code thingy. Okay, so you can see that, right?
Yes sir.
Awesome. Okay, so the problem is this thing, right? So off of Node Anchor, you've got a list of edge archetypes, and then in order to like filter on the to filter the DB on the direction of the edge, you would have to load all edges, which is a performance issue. That's the primary concern, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And honestly, also, we should probably do both type and edge direction um, outside so that you can filter at least on type and edge direction at the DB level.
Uh, which type it, sir? Which
Oh, like the type of the edge, right? Because if you create when you create an edge, you can have typed edges, and then you can filter on those typed edges. So like you can have this kind of thing. Uh, so like here. So here we're at root, and we're taking all of the edges of type edge A that's pointing outward. So here we have the direction and the type of the edge that we want to get. So root could have like, edge A, edge B, edge C, elemental P, like all the different types of edges. Um, you may want to filter on the type as well. Is what I'm thinking. So like similarly, the argument that we should take the dir out, the direction out, we should also probably take out at least the type, so that we could do something like this without loading every outward pointing edge. Um,
actually we kind of support that one, since I already like
oh,
ready the structure for that one. So the ID, so on the
I see.
database
Okay.
structure, the ID reference on it has the type name on that ID. So I can filter out using that name.
Okay. That's cool. Um, I see. Let's see. So basically, the issue is
But
that Edge dir isn't in. It's not kept inside of the. It's not kept inside of the. If it was kept inside of the Edge archetype, would be fine too, since type is inside the Edge archetype, right?
it,
No, let me think. How are you storing the type?
the type will be on the name, on the ID itself.
Oh, I see.
The ID has three
Oh, I see.
three values: the
Oh,
name,
okay.
the type, the name, that the name of the type,
Mm-hmm.
the archetype,
Mm-hmm.
then the ID.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that works. But direction actually is kind of like it's kind of inferred from what the source and the target is of the node, right? Of the edge, right?
Yes.
And then the direction is really in respect to from the perspective of a node. That's the issue. But tell me something. On the get edges, we pass edge dir. Is there a way you can?
Actually,
Yep.
on saving part and retrieving part, I
Hmm.
can convert it to that approach.
I know. I know.
However,
Yeah. Go ahead.
it will be um it will still affect the filtering, since the actual holder of the edges from the node archetype or the node anchor still um includes everything. So what I mean by that is, node, if we put it on a single disk, if we try to look it, it includes everything. While if we separate it, it will just start. It's a first layer of filtering, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it will lessen our for loop or our um caching, since we don't check everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, of course. So so that's solved if you bring the direction out. Basically, you're just recording that from the node's perspective. Yeah, I totally understand what you mean. Um, but so look, so essentially, you could still say that you could still override the saving mechanism, right? This the write to DB mechanism to create that field essentially, right? Like
Yes, sir.
you could, and then you can manage that at that layer. So that would work. And so there's basically two spots we can kind of have the standard as to how to implement it. I honestly think it's fine to bring it. I think it's a good change to bring into the default library to essentially just have it organized where the edge dir is kind of the edges are captured inside of the node archetype in respect to the edge dir. So do you want to work on that change directly against the Jack repo, or would you rather like me kind of take it on and do it when I can? You might be able to do it quickly. What do you think?
Uh, I can try. I haven't
Yeah, I know.
changed but I can try that one.
Yeah, yeah. I think it'll be quick. Let me talk you through the implementation super quickly. And then, just let me know. Like, it's like today is, I want to get that kind of change in for you super fast. But I actually think you're more than like knowledgeable to be able to make that change. Oh, am I still sharing screen? Good. So you can see my screen, right? So the way I would do this, and let me know if this makes sense, right? The way I would do this, so we used to have it as, list edge dir here. And then it would have the edge archetype. It was a dictionary, right? It was a dictionary of edge dir and edge archetype, right? I might prefer something like this. Edges out, edges in, and edges any. What do you think of this? And the reason I would like this a little bit better is because it's nicer for type checking, for type safety, compared to just having a dictionary of three. Like it's harder to then you'd have to have a comment or some documentation. I feel like it's more readable, and it's easier for like static analysis tools like type checkers, right? So I would do edges out, edges in, and edges any. What do you think of that kind of choice?
Actually, that's more cleaner. I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I prefer that one.
Yep. And so basically, all it is, I think all of the changes happen inside here, right? Inside of this. And maybe there'll be some changes inside of Edge too. I don't think there will be. But basically, on this connect node is when you would choose which variable to attach it to. And then you can use a property for get all edges, right? Like you basically you could just kind of engineer this class to now accept the edge archetypes in these three formats. That's what I think the core implementation would be.
Yeah, I can test that out.
Yeah,
Since I haven't changed anything on the
I know.
default plugin. Yeah, I can try.
Yeah. So do it as a what is it called? Do it as a fresh PR, because I'll merge that in. I can't wait to
Yep.
get you to have a committed to main piece of code, right? So I think that'd be super cool to have you in the contributor list, like sooner than later. So do it as a separate PR. Only make this change. And then we'll review it together, and I'll be on Slack. So as you hack this, anything that you run into, just ping me, okay?
Sure, sir.
Awesome. All right, I think this is a really good change too. I think it'll be super clean. I think it improves the extensibility of any plugins that need to change the way this works. So that's really good. Awesome, man.
Wait, sir. By the way, do we support um self connect, something like root
Yep.
connects to root?
Yes, we do. We do have self-referencing edges. So what would that look like, I guess, is your thought, right? I guess it would appear in both. Yeah, it would just appear in both. That's okay. You could have one object, and then you'd have just a reference to that object appear in both. So you would essentially, like in here, you would have something like, what, self dot, wait, connect. Oh, you see, it's in this attach function. This is the interesting bit, right? Self.obj. You would have to have, okay, so then you'd have like if edge dot out. I'm just gonna pseudocode this. If edge dot out equals self dot obj, edges, self dot edge out append. The thing is, this particular append happens inside of attach, I believe. Yeah, it actually happens inside of attach, so you would do it here. So, yeah. Actually, this would do it. This would do it. Like if you had a, so it's very close. This is very close to the actual implementation. But I think it would be totally fine to have references in out and in. Good question.
Also on the filtering on the edge.
Like this stuff?
Can you show example? That one, sir.
Yeah.
How about a combination of filtering of edge with the context?
Oh,
and
100%.
with the
It's this. Val equals 3, val other equals 5. So that's like filtering on the edge. If you want to filter on the node, you have to do this kind of syntax. And then, like, let's say, okay, there's two syntax. I gotta write some docs on this. I'm gonna do it today. I have like 17 million things I promised myself I'd do today, but you can do y equals and then z equals blah. But if you want to have the type, which you probably want to have, this syntax highlighting is out of date. It's actually corrected. So ignore the syntax highlighting, of course. But you could say my node. So this would be how you filter on the nodes. So you can filter node type and node values like that. And then I'm going to...
The question mark is required.
Which one?
Question mark.
Yeah, this
The
question. Yeah.
Before my node. Okay.
My node, and then you got to do this thing too. I'll send you a snippet of docs on that, so you can create an issue to need docs on. Just call it filter comprehensions in edge refs. Let me do it. I'll do it. I'll just do a quick one. GitHub issues.
Yeah, basically, why I asked it because I need to convert that on query so that if you filter in edge and node, it will be a lesser query instead of like querying every time. So I'm like for checking the context values. So I need to like consolidate the filter, then query it once.
Yep.
Something like that.
Yep. Well, that makes sense. Cool. All right. So, and I actually have a feeling that this, just as you code this PR, Slack me as soon as you get stuck on anything, because I kind of want to see where that would get tricky. I have a feeling that might be a very quick PR. Where is it? The node anchor stuff. This thing. So like, yeah, just feel free to Slack me as you go, real time.
Yep, sure, sir. We'll message you.
Awesome.
Once I get stuck.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. All right. Good stuff, man. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Talk soon. Yep. Later. All right.